"Talk dirty to me," he said on our 1-year anniversary. We were in bed, making love. I felt a rush of panic in my chest. Fear. "Tell me how you feel," he grunted again. And I felt my mouth go dry, my heart racing as I panicked, and my mind went totally blank. What did he want me to say? What did he want me to do? Finally, awkwardly, I opened my mouth and whispered, "Your penis feels really good." Silence, like a tumbleweed rolling across a street in the Old West. He didn't ask again. He closed his eyes like he was concentrating, and I wondered what he was thinking of. I wondered where he went. But the worst part happened later that night. It was a little after 2 a.m. when I woke up and found the bed empty. I pulled on my robe and padded out to the living room, thinking he'd gone to get a drink of water or something. And then I heard a sound that sent a chill through my whole body. A female voice. Moaning. My palms sweaty, I crept around the corner and saw him. The man I loved, Kevin, sitting at the computer naked, touching himself. We'd just made love a few hours before, but here he was masturbating and watching porn. I've always wondered why guys do that. Why would you need to watch porn when you've got a real woman right there? On the screen was a girl, not even a very pretty girl, not much prettier than me, touching herself and moaning and saying the dirtiest, naughtiest things. Things a good girl like me would never think of. Things I thought I could never make myself say. Even though I felt devastated and betrayed, I just couldn't look away. And then I looked at Kevin's face and saw a smile like I'd never seen before. In a year together, I'd never seen him look so happy and masculine and satisfied. I know I don't have to tell you how worthless and ugly I felt. How I felt like I could never measure up to his fantasies I never even really knew he had. And I thought of the times we tried to experiment and I'd wanted him to try new things and he'd just grumble like a sad puppy. I acted like I was asleep when he came back to bed. Like I'd been asleep the whole time, burying my face in the pillow so he wouldn't see the tears. He spooned me and I shuddered, and I had to bite my tongue so I didn't tighten up. And I lay there for hours thinking and making a decision. I thought of how I looked in the mirror. I'd never be a supermodel. I'd never be 22 again, thank God. I'd never be a porn star and never wanted to be. And lying there, feeling his breath on my neck, I knew I could do one of 3 things. I could ignore that this ever happened, bury my head in the sand and pretend we were happy. I could confront him. I could get mad at him for looking at other girls and thinking about other girls. I could be furious and yell at him and forbid him from ever looking at porn again and end up pushing him farther away. Or I could make the choice I did. I could learn the secret fantasies of my guy. Of all guys. I could learn the sexual psychology of men, why men want what they want, instead of sticking my head in the sand like most women. And I could learn to play his secret desires like a violin, and inspire him to give me everything I've ever fantasized about. I fired up my laptop the next day, excited at what I was going to learn. But quickly I got frustrated, and then disgusted. All over the internet, all I found were books and articles and YouTube videos by sleazy pickup artist type guys and 22-year-old bimbos telling me that I had to act like a slut or a nymphomaniac teenager to make a man happy. And I knew that couldn't be the truth. I knew that getting what I wanted didn't have to mean giving up who I was. So I went on a mission to find out the truth. The next few months were a thrill and a rush of revelations. I made myself watch porn, and instead of being disgusted and judgmental, I acted like a scientist. I asked myself why men seem to need this stuff so much. I studied what the most popular porn stars in the videos whispered in their husky voices and discovered the secret rocket fuel for the male ego. Through a forum, I tracked down a retired phone sex expert who played fantasy girl for thousands of men. She taught me the power of the feminine voice, the exact tone that bores into a man's mind, and what men are really seeking emotionally when they think they're seeking sex. I got my best guy friends fall over drunk until they finally broke the bro code and told me what they really wanted and what they really dreamed of. I booked time with a sex therapist all by myself and scribbled furious notes as she explained why men can become erotically impotent with women they love and how to keep it from ever happening to you. I read books and websites and blogs and interviewed college professors about evolutionary psychology and why men are wired the way they are. I read smut written for men and studied exactly why some stories got 5-star ratings from guys, while others I thought were really good were ignored. And then, with all this jumbling around in my brain, I started writing. I sat down at my laptop and boiled everything I'd learned and discovered into 33 powerful tricks and techniques that would wake up the animal in my man and fix his hunger right on me where it belongs. Thumbing through the finished file, I felt a heat through my whole body, my cheeks flushed with pride. I'd done it. I'd done what no woman had ever done before. I'd created an owner's manual for a man's most important erogenous zone. His mind. His imagination. A few weeks later, Kevin and I were rolling around again, smiling, having fun. He didn't even ask me to talk dirty this time. I guess he didn't want to be disappointed again. He was on top of me, inside me, our faces just inches from each other. He closed his eyes, and I knew he was miles and miles away, getting what he craved from his fantasies because he thought I couldn't give it to him. I took a deep breath and felt terrified, like I was jumping off a bridge. But I said it. The lust mirror phrase I discovered, a little trick that forces a man out of his head and right back into the moment by reflecting his secret desires back at him. His eyes flew open like he was just seeing me for the first time. He looked deeply into my eyes, and I knew he was right there with me. Seeing me, feeling me, listening to my voice. And I saw that smile again. But this time he wasn't looking at porn. He was only looking at me. Over the next hour, I took control of his fantasies, whispered naughty words in his ear, stroked his ego, teased him, made him feel powerful and desired and strong and masculine. And in return, he opened up and gave me everything. He made dirty, amazing, wonderful love to me, touched me, whispered to me, asked me about my fantasies and fulfilled them, gave me intense pleasure again and again that lit every cell of my body on fire and left me flushed and exhausted and happy in a way I never thought I would feel. I bet you can feel right now how wonderful that was. We both couldn't stop giggling and laughing when we were done. We basked in the glow, feeling connected and silly and happy and horny and in love. He looked me in the eye and asked, "Where the hell did that come from?" I just smiled, and he curled up next to me and hugged me tight, and we slept and dreamed so soundly like that, twisted in the blankets until the alarm went off the next day. I told my best friend Michelle all about it at lunch. She was scandalized and excited. As we were paying the bill, she super casually said, "Did you learn anything I can use with Rob?" She said it with a laugh, twisting her wedding ring on her finger like an anxious tick. I wasn't sure at first. I'd worked so hard for so long. Was this really something I wanted to share? She's my best friend. How could I say no? At midnight, I got a text from her in all caps with a huge smiley emoticon saying, "Oh my God, your Pavlov's erection thing is genius and really works. He didn't know what hit him. Thank you." I guess Michelle couldn't keep a secret. Or maybe people could just see the glow. My sister Laura called me up and asked if I had a trick for her to try, just for fun. Laura was always single and was always complaining that guys pulled away after a couple dates. She said she used the cuddle hormone technique I created with a guy while sitting at dinner. She got to work the next day to find a huge bouquet of flowers and a note begging to take her out again. And then things got a little crazy. I achieved this weird cult status locally. Friends, family, 22-year-old girls to 70-year-old recent divorcees, to my mom, who I refused to talk about any of this stuff, started to use my techniques and raved about how simple and easy and magical it was to make a man a monogamy addict this simple way, to take away all his distractions like you're suddenly the only woman on the planet for him. Somewhere along the way, what I was teaching all these women got the name The Language of Desire, and it kind of stuck. Because that's what it is, the secret erotic language of the masculine mind. Which brings us to now. My name is Felicity Keith, and no, I'm not a stripper or a sexpert or a nymphomaniac or anything like that. If you saw me at the supermarket, you'd just see a regular, 40-ish, slightly overweight single mom. But that's not what my boyfriend Kevin sees at all. When he looks at me, he sees his lover he could never live without. Even though just 18 months ago, I thought we were doomed. Now, I'm about to unlock this door for you, but first there's something I desperately need you to understand about love and passion and lust and the minds of men. Because this isn't just a power, it's a responsibility. Once you learn how to tease and gloriously torment a man the secret way, You'll be able to give him a more intense, pleasurable, connected, and erotic sexual experience sitting at a table at a restaurant acting completely innocent as far as everyone around you is concerned than his ex-girlfriend could in a whole sweaty, naked weekend. And this next thing is important. Listen to me closely. You'll be able to do all of this without ever acting or feeling like a slut. I know this sounds almost supernatural, and I can't wait for you to experience what it feels like to be so totally wanted, but this isn't magic. It's science. It's chemistry. Because the dirty, wonderful words and phrases you're going to learn have been psychologically designed to hit the masculine mind like a drug. Listen, imagine if we took a brain scan of the man you want at the moment you look him in the eye, smile, and whisper these very special words. If you compared it to a brain scan of a heroin addict at the moment he injected into his vein, would you be able to tell the difference? Not really. In both cases, you'd see an explosion of dopamine flooding his brain. If you don't know what dopamine is, it's the pleasure chemical, the same chemical released when you share a passionate kiss with someone you love, or cheat on your diet, or gorge on chocolate, or win the lottery. And that hit of dopamine is what motivates every man, woman, and animal on this planet. And without even knowing why, he's going to come to you again and again to get his fix. So, are you ready to feel what it's like to be the only one for him? Are you ready for him to put down the cell phone, stop talking about work, and really be present with you? Are you ready to be his sexual obsession? If you're still watching this, it means the answer is yes, yes, yes. The language of desire is the result of over a year of nonstop intensive research, testing, and work.